Will Brian Michael Bendis save DC Comics? Will he make them win this week? Or is it going to go to Independence? Or maybe even Marvel? This is a Marvel versus DC versus Independent review batch. I've done quite a few of these over on I Love Comics, but I haven't been reading a lot of comic books these days, so I'm a bit behind, and that's why, you see what you're seeing going by here. So every cover you're seeing is going to be reviewed. Here's a quick 30, 45 seconds just to give you an idea of is it good, is it bad, whatever. And it's ranked 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. And then I put them in order from worst to best. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? There are 35 reviews here, and the way they're scored is very simple. Number 1 gets 35 points. Number 35 gets 1. The ratings are 1 star is horrible, 2 stars are bad, 3 stars are average, 4 stars are good, and 5 stars are excellent. And even though I am a self-confessed DC fan, I put all bias aside so I could give a good review. It's more important that I'm being honest to you guys than my team wins. Besides, it's no competition if I'm rigging this sport, right? That's the way I think. Anyway, I'm just covering time before this last cover right here. Let's get started. The 1-star books are horrible, and these are the ones you should avoid at all cost. Bad reception, number 1. So I saw the whole cell phone angle. I thought, okay, it's one of these cell phones make you turn into zombies. Haha, isn't it like life kind of things? Instead, it's a social influencer talking about social influencer problems while something happens at the bottom that looks like people are dying. It is so freaking boring. This is one of the worst comic books I have read in a long, long time. Not cringe-inducing bad, just plain bad. Inferior 5, number 1, Keith Giffen, man, I dig him. I really do. I dig the Peacemaker story at the end of this, but it's really nice that nobody really knows who the Inferior 5 is because there's nothing recognizable in this book. This is such a drab thing to look at, and it's a meandering story that's taking far too long to get to the point. It lost me with the first issue. I'm going to check out the second. Fingers crossed. The 2-star books are bad. They could have been horrible, but maybe something saved them from that horrid fate. Age of Conan, Valeria, number 1. So we have the story of a woman who was raised by her father with a sword in her hand because her brother is messing around, and she's now trying to find the killer of her father. It's nothing new. I mean, there is nothing new to this. This is an absolutely forgettable book. They are really riding Conan's coattails. All the goodwill from Savage and Conan is just dissipating with every one of these crappy freaking spin-offs they keep doing. Okay, so usually I try to make these 30 minutes long, or 30 seconds long, excuse me. And this is exactly the same as Batman number 78. Exactly the same. They're just fighting instead of training this time, and I think there's a beach scene in this one. Is that this one or the other one? See, they blend. What are you doing, Tom King? What are you freaking doing? Batman number 78. Yeah, that's how far back I am right now. Batman number 78 comes right after the issue where Bane snaps Alfred's neck. And this is basically Batman and Catwoman training love talk to each other. It's like Tom King trying to be a Hallmark card all the way through. This book is horrible. It really is. And it just crushes the pacing of this City of Bane storyline. Marauders number 1. I've been saying this version of the X-Men isn't the X-Men, that they're freaking war criminals, and they are in this particular point. They invade Russia. They steal children. Kitty Pryde becomes a pirate. I mean, like, Somalia, I'm the captain now kind of pirate. Oh my good Lord. Just, the thing is as much as I do not like these books, we're talking about them. Finally, we have X-Men worthy of talking about. Unfortunately for me, it isn't in a good way. It's the same way as I was talking about the Death of Wolfsbane just a few months back. I don't know. I know some people love this. I'm on the I'm in the minority here, so take it with a grain of salt, but I am just not digging it. The 3-star books are average. Maybe I liked them, but just not enough to recommend them, or they just didn't resonate one way or the other. Contagion #1. I was a little bit disappointed, especially considering this seemed to be the answer to DC Comics Deceased. Instead of giving us something abstract, a disease or something that the heroes have to fight against, they actually have a disease-causing bad guy, which I think is so much easier. It's so much more direct. There just could have been so much more to this. Maybe it improves in issue #2, but as far as issue #1, I thought it was quite average. White Fox #1. Here's the absolute best thing I could say. I love this cover. Get rid of the #1, all the credits and everything, and make for a great poster cover if you knew who White Fox was. Otherwise, this is absolutely flatline. This is a blank piece of paper, but with art and words on it. There is nothing new you're going to read here. There's nothing exciting. It isn't boring. It's just there. Well, I've never seen the TV show Carnival Row, but I picked up the comic book just to get an idea of what was going on, and it seems it's like some sort of cops and robbers with a fantasy world and in Victorian times of all things. It's entertaining. I liked it, but I was really hoping for more. I was hoping for more world building and something to make me go, ooh, wow, instead of, all right, well, that's different. Strike Force #1. At the very least, I can appreciate the fact that they didn't call this Avengers something like they do over at DC with Justice League, or they were doing with DC and Justice League. Yeah, this is a lot of Avengers D-listers that are being led by Blade, and it's not a bad book, but I don't think you're going to remember too much after it's over. It's basically the Avengers taking on supernatural stuff. That's why Blade's in it. Okay, so at least we get a little action in Batman #80. We have Batman taking out all the lieutenants, you know, the basically all the criminals that Bane had Psycho Pirate mind wash so they would be his deputies. And, you know, it's okay. This one is actually good. This is getting the story back to where it needs to be. And you kind of see Batman returning just a little bit to what he should have been all along. Avengers Save Like a Hero is pure propaganda for banks. I mean, it's not a bad story. If you're handing it to kids, this is really cool because it's all about how if you save money, you know, a little bit now, a little bit then, a little bit, and it just builds up. And they do it all while Captain America and Bucky, and then, of course, Winter Soldier is beating the tar out of Red Skull. All of the dialogue is how about you should be saving money. It's, like I said, it's for kids. It's for them to learn, I guess. We used to get this kind of thing in the 70s. I appreciate it. Then, in all honesty, it's not bad now. Action Comics #1013 is another one of those books where it seems like, okay, I want to talk about this hero. It's kind of like Ironheart. Well, I want to do Rose and Thorn, so let me put him in Legion. Let me put her in Action Comics. And here's something. I'm gonna give Brian Michael Bendis the highest praise I've ever given him up to this moment right here. This was not absolutely 100% horrible. Actually, I kind of enjoyed delving into the villain's outlook on things here, but otherwise, it's also not great. Legion of Superheroes, Millennium, #2 of 2. So we get a lot of Booster Gold in this, a little bit of Rose Thorn. At the end, she walks in on the Legion of Superheroes because I guess security's lax. Dude, I like the OMAC scene. That was good. The booster scene was good. The rest of it sucked. I'm just going to leave that there. And when they said, oh, wow, look, there's the Legion, it wasn't the Legion of Superheroes. We're supposed to go, oh, wow, finally they're back at DC Comics, but it's not the Legion of Superheroes I grew up with. So I was like, are you trying to hit the nostalgia button? Because it's just way off here, dude. Action Comics #1014 is one of those issues where you swear things happen, but when you're thinking, okay, well, what happened? Nothing. Somebody was approached by Lex Luthor. They turned him down. Another person was approached by Lex Luthor. They said, yeah, okay, I'll take the power. That'd be cool. This really reminds me of that, the one where they were selling their soul to the devil in the 90s. But seriously, it's not a horrible issue. I think Action Comics might be where Bendis is getting better, to tell you the truth. The 4-star books are good, and I am happy to recommend them to you. Bizarre Adventures #1, obviously a book put out so they could keep the title or something like that. It's an anthology book. So the first story is fun. It's a little bit to do with wizards and warriors, that kind of thing. The second story is a Shang-Chi story where he meets up with his master. That one's also good, and it's entertaining. Then we've got the vampire story. It looks like an iVampire kind of thing. It's not bad. This sucks. This really sucks. They saved this one for last, the Giant Man story, and it was bad. Oh my goodness gracious, it was. Now, every other story here was decent or good. I've got to admit that. But this is an anthology book, and as my rule says, you know, with anthology books, you gotta take the good, you gotta take the bad, you take them both, then you have a crush on Joe. Aliens Rescue follows a young Marine. He's very dedicated to the Marines, as a matter of fact, but he finds out that there's these two girls that helped him out when he was in trouble. They're now in trouble on an alien planet. As a matter of fact, when you see this scene right here, they're not just in trouble, they're dead. You take a look at this, they're dead, but he has to go try to save them anyway. Tell you the truth, this is one of the more engaging alien stories that I've read in a long time. Star Wars, Age of Resistance, Rose Tico, they're all #1, so the number is arbitrary at best. So this surprisingly was good. I know the world hates Rose Tico, I don't. She's in a bad movie. She's one of the bad elements of a bad movie. You can't hate her for it. This, however, tells the origin story of her and her sister and why they wanted to go to the Resistance. And it ended up being actually giving her some good backstory as well as the sister. Yeah, a lot of fun. I do enjoy these Age of Resistance books. They hardly ever disappoint, though. Excellence #4. This is a good book, and it's one of these that seem to be flying under the radar, even though there's more than just me trying to tell you guys, hey, you should be picking it up. Spencer is a villain. I'm sorry, but I'm getting this vibe. You know, we're seeing the creation of a supervillain in here. He's not really, but it so could go that direction, too, and that's one of the best things about this. There are no black and white heroes in this one. There's no absolutes, and I think that makes the story stronger. You should check this out. I don't want to give up too much. I didn't give up any of the story, as a matter of fact, but really, Excellence deserves your attention. Cobra Kai #1. If you've seen the TV show that's on YouTube, then you get that. Not the whole thing. Right now, we're just dealing with Johnny's origin story, which we got some of in the TV show, and this sort of expands upon it and leads right into the Karate Kid, and you get a little bit of the story that's going on. It's entertaining. If you like the show, I think you're going to like this book. Berserker Unbound #1. So, okay, we've seen this before many times. We've seen it with Conan. This is literally Conan where he goes to New York. We don't get that part until the end. It's written by Jeff Lemire. Mike Deodato Jr. does the art, so better writing than art. There's nothing new under the sun, and yet it's still entertaining. It's just kind of funny how some people could take something formula and make something really boring, and someone like Jeff Lemire right here can take what we've seen before and kind of give it a fresh coat of paint. Grim Tales of Terror, The Bridgewater Triangle. This is about as 1980s a comic book as you could get, and by that I mean 1980s horror. Kids go out, they're going to explore a swamp that everybody's telling them, don't go into the swamp because it's going to kill you. Two people have sex, and then they're chased by creatures where they have to defend themselves, and then once they do, they just piss off all the other creatures that now want to kill them for defending themselves. It is absolutely like a 1980s monster movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun. Avengers, Loki Unleashed. Okay, you know how we always say they just don't make them like they used to? For better and worse, they have made a book like they used to, and I've got to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. This was a fun book. This was a throwback to the 1980s. It really was. Not just in characters for the Avengers, but in feel and everything. The melodrama, the great art. This is a lot of fun. Seriously, pick this one up if you have a chance. Okay, so here we've got Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran, Snow Glass Apples. It's Snow White. if she was a vampire. That's basically the storyline. It's actually not bad, to tell you the truth. There's a little pretension here, but you could expect that. It's Neil Gaiman, but it still winds up being quite a good yarn, I think. The art is interesting. I'm not saying good. It's not bad, but it's definitely interesting, as it doesn't go for any kind of realism. It's like they know they're writing a comic book, and they have fun doing it. And I think it's a pretty good read. Oh, this was fun. Black Terror #1. I had a good time with this book. It is really a midlife crisis. This is a midlife crisis book. So I guess as a person midlife, yeah, right. Not old, but midlife. I could get into this. Black Terror, he's working in a pharmacy now. He kind of finds out he's addicted to fighting crime and everything. And when he does, there's an organization that says, we've been watching you. Obviously, you've been activated again. If you do it again, we're going to take you down. So that's how the book ends anyway. I'm kind of spoiling it. But let me tell you, you should be checking this one out. This is a lot of fun. Ghost Rider #1. Man, I was wondering when I was going to enjoy a Ghost Rider story again. Seriously, I'm not a big fan of Car Guy. It just doesn't appeal to me as much as Motorcycle Guy. First Motorcycle Guy is best. Second Motorcycle Guy is good. This is an entertaining story. It's basically Ghost Rider ruling hell, and he's going out into Earth to find all the demons that escaped so he can go back to hell and rule it, I guess. Anyway, it's good. Check it out. Strange Skies Over East Berlin. I gave this a shot based on the cover. I thought it was interesting. Plus, anytime you could get a good Cold War book, and it's pretty cool. And thankfully, this is a good Cold War book. And it all starts off with some guy seeing some people trying to get over the wall, and he just gets mixed in with them by accident. And it is very intriguing. It really does kind of ring of those 1980s spy films, or even in 1950s and such like this. If you have a chance, if it's still on the shelves, pick it up. You won't be sorry. Joker Harley, Criminal Sanity. This was the book that a lot of people were not appreciative of. I'm surprised. Of the two stories, this one and Harleen, I like this one better. This was compared to Silence of the Lambs. Okay, I could see that, but I liked Silence of the Lambs. This is a decent story of Harley Quinn as a psychiatrist trying to get into the head of the serial killer, the Joker, and I like it. It works for me. It really does. Deceased #4. First of all, love this cover. It's one of my favorite covers in the last few months. And yes, I know I'm behind on these things. Anyway, it's a great tale. It really has been just amping up from one issue to the next It just keeps getting better. In this, we have a zombie Giganta. I like it. This is more impressive to me than Zombie Giant Man from Marvel Zombies. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't checked this out, check it out when it comes out in trade paperback. And the 5-star books are excellent. They may not be Dark Knight quality, but man, they do the job they set out to do. Deceased #5. The remaining heroes figure that the planet is now done. It's time to get the survivors. It's time to get the rest of humanity out of there before something really bad happens. And that something happens. All the heroes are in one spot. Cyborg is the catalyst. So he starts infecting the heroes, and Flash gets infected. So Superman goes to stop him, and it just gets worse. Damn, this book is good. So there you go. That's all the reviews. Let's see who wins. Is it Marvel? Is it DC? Or do independent comics take it this time around? Independent comic books had a position of 1, 9, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, and 27, giving it a total score of 185. Marvel, on the other hand, had comics in positions 3, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 23, 26, for a whopping score of 126 points. And finally, DC Comics had positions 2, 4, 5, 11, 13, 14, 15, 28, 29, and the #1 spot, 30, and it came up with 151 points, which makes the independent comic books the winner of the week. So there you go, gang. That's the reviews. Those are the scores. What do you think? What did I put too high? What did I put too low? What should not even be reviewed at all? Come on, don't do that. Don't be like that. Don't be that guy. Come on. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe if you haven't done it already, but more importantly, ring that notification bell and set it on all so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts, and I would hate for you to miss a moment. Also, if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Ko-Fi, go on over to Patreon, drop $1 in the tip jar, or you can commission a video. All you got to do is go to Ko-Fi, pick your topic, pick your subject, or if you're a $5 patron, you get a choice of a video a month, whatever you want it to be done on. I'd like to thank everybody who has already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.